So say that again. How are you doing?
Doing a lot better. Yeah, doing good.
Well, that's freaking amazeballs.
Yeah.
My God, I just aged myself right there, didn't I?
We're the same age, so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, those
Yeah.
millennials won't have a clue what is amazeballs.
So
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm a little sleep deprived, and then still trying to get off of the numbing medicine that I was taking the Prozac. So that's been a little bit of a like a hindrance, But I'm also working hard to try and push through the stuff. Like I don't think I did that last time, and take time out to really try and think things through and
process.
Well,
well, the thing is, in order to like think things through, you have to feel what you're feeling. If you're afraid of feelings, and I think that's a big source of depression for a lot of people, is they just won't face. They will not face what inevitably has to be faced. And so it's very relieving to finally face things and just accept what they are. Just accept whatever that is. I know for me, in the depression I experienced, which was intense depression, very dark, very demonic, inescapable. I know for me, it had a lot to do with the fact that I refused to face my shame. And who would want to face shame? I mean, like, woo, I'm delighted. I feel like a horrible, horrible piece of shit, pathetic, bad human being. Like, woohoo, let's face that. No. You want to do everything you can to hide it, escape it, deny it, blame someone for it. The blaming aspect to me is a big one, because it's not me that's bad. That person hurt me, and this, and it can be something like molestation. So it's not like, you're creating victimization. There's potential like real shit you can blame someone on. But if you don't face it and resolve it, you're going to have depression. Because the mechanisms, don't you think, the mechanisms of coping eventually wear you down.
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna need a drug, you're gonna need alcohol, you're gonna need an escape, because your way of living just to be neutral is exhausting.
Yes. Yep.
So then you get to a place where you're like, I can't do this anymore. And here we are, and I'm saying, okay, let's look at your shame. Let's look at how horrible a person you are.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not a bad person.
Exactly. Yeah, when I went to write the list of why I hate myself and why I hate life and all that, I just almost drew a blank because I couldn't come up with anything else except for, like you were saying, the body image. It really starts there for me.
For you.
It affects everything.
Yeah. Like that is really common for people, I think, with binge eating disorder.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. I know underlying a lot of people's coping with body image and shame stems from shame around body image. But like for me, it was shame around religion first. Primary. That was my primary thing. And shame around sex and shame around just being dumb. My whole self-concept being I'm dumb. Like I had horrible learning problems. I didn't read until 4th grade. I didn't understand the teacher. I had auditory issues. And I just, the shame around that. So for me, the escape or a way to feel better about it, and you can look at that and go, well, is that a bad thing? Is escaping and trying to feel better about shame bad?
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Especially for a child.
Also before, I thought I was like flawed,
Well,
it was just that disease kind of thing, it's part of who I am.
Oh, yeah. And that right there, can you ever escape it?
No.
So you'd have to question, okay, I was taught that. I was told that. And at the time, the disease model, right? Is that what you're referring to? Because you've recovered from addiction.
Right.
Well, and I say that with quotes. I say that with quotes.
Yeah.
Okay, keep in mind, I've recovered from addiction too, because the body image and eating disorders are considered addictive, like obsessive compulsive addiction models. There's different models, right?
Right.
What were you addicted to? Was it meth?
Yeah, meth and alcohol. And,
gambling?
Marijuana. Like, not really ever gambling. That never really got to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, can you see?
Shopping.
What?
Shopping.
Yeah. Anything that kind of distracts from I'm a horrible person. But you don't feel that. I think for me and a lot of the people I work with who've had substance abuse, because I have never had substance abuse. Well, I take that back. Alcohol. When I was in that throes of the shame, I actually read some journals. I completely forgot about this. My teammates went to the coaches. They were concerned about my alcohol drinking.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Right? It was a joke. I don't have a problem. But now I look back and I'm like, oh, yeah, I probably had alcohol. I was using alcohol to escape.
Yeah.
This was before I went to body image. This is the first time I'm talking about it on record right now. Yeah. But anyway, so we can look at that and go, well, of course you're going to want to escape. Yeah. Of course. And something like alcohol can be a source of friendship. So all of a sudden I have friends.
Because then you can just kind of be free, and then you get into this group of people that
smoking pot. And it's actually quite loving. Yeah. So you know that from the inside, right? Like, it's no different than
why I went to any of those things.
Yeah, of course. And you have camaraderie.
Like me.
For the first time in your life, there's camaraderie and people care about you, even though it's always under the, drinking but they do care. You do care about people. I'm assuming when you got sobered up, you cared about the people that weren't getting sober. Yeah. But you have to separate yourself from any codependency to break out. But anyway, so when you take a big step back and you can see the forest for the trees, you can see everything you've done from meth, pot, alcohol, shopping, body image, food, all of that is really just you trying to escape what feels like the grim reaper of shame. Yeah. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that makes it totally forgivable too. I'm not just a terrible person.
No.
And that's how I felt. Like I was just born this terrible,
bad
devil child, and, and all I could do is wrong,
Yeah, I totally get it. I am inferior. I am, I just don't get it. Everybody else has this, and why can't I figure this out? I so connect with that right now. I connect with that. I totally understand from my own experience with that feeling. And then all of a sudden you're thin, right? And thin is super praised.
Oh, yeah.
So I assume the issues with your body started when you were on meth, when you were thin. And that was a thing for you that was like, at least I'm thin.
Yeah, well, it actually came from, I can remember, I was sitting and thinking about it this morning probably about 4 or 5 years old when a boy called me fat and said that I had chicken legs. And I remember that was the first time I really looked at myself and was like, something's wrong with me,
Yeah.
And then, so way back then, because that's where I go when I come out of this, when my mind comes, free for a minute, I go back to feeling like I'm 4,
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do know.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's where I'm at. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I need my blocks and my crayons at this point. And then,
what's your favorite color? Do you like peanut butter? Yep, I know. That's how old I was, too.
Yeah,
Brown, super juvenile.
Yeah.
And that was probably the first time you left yourself and said, I'm not good. And then you go towards what you think is good. And so it's easy to be attracted to very clear social ideals because it's obvious.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Because I'll be liked when my hair looks like hers. So I'm telling you my story.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. There was this new neighbor and Yeah, and she had curly, or not curly hair, beautiful, long, straight hair. And her mom did her hair every day, and it was all pretty. I'm number 9 of 10 kids. I have horribly curly hair that grows straight up. My mom had no idea how to do it. I'm the first person that had super curly hair in my family. And I look like a mess. They used to call me Robin Stinkle because I used to pee my pants a little bit because I didn't want to leave everybody. I wanted to go play, so I just pee a little bit just so I didn't have to leave. I mean, I stunk. I was dirty. I looked like, what's his name? The dirty friend of Charlie Brown's with the blanket.
Pigpen.
That was me.
Like
that was me. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
For reals. And, yeah, so I connect with that. But she was always a little like, she didn't like me. It was the first time I had a neighbor that was my age, and I wanted a friend so bad, and I wanted her to come over and have lunch with me. My mom was fixing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I love peanut butter. And she was like, gross. So guess what I didn't like from that time forward?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I quit eating peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I thought she wouldn't like me. Anyway, so that was my beginning, right? Like you said, you have memory of this first time you felt something's wrong with me. That was mine.
Wow.
Oh, actually, my brother was so pissed he had to change my diaper. And I remember that. I remember feeling really bad, like I was putting him out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yep.
I
remember stuff like that too from my parents.
I know, and you just don't want, these are little things. What do? You cannot, your parents, if they knew, they would have, that's the other part of taking responsibility is it's like, I wish I just didn't give a shit. But for some reason, whatever it is, maybe it's karma, past life crap, who knows? I cared that my brother was pissed that he had to change my diaper.
Yeah.
He was arguing with my sister Jenna Lee. I remember this so clear. We were in Alabama. I might have been 2. I don't know. I just wanted them to like me. I wanted to be a part of my family. But yeah, I mean, so we can go back and be like, my life has been so bad, my whole life, all of it's sad. And then I have some weird memories of my uncle when I was an infant, like a year and a half old. Very traumatic, him beating me up, potential molestation, right?
Oh my gosh.
I had to have been a year old. I don't even remember. It's like I remember, but I don't. I've always had weird feelings about this one uncle. Should we blame him? You know what I'm saying? Like we can sit there and go, layer. But the reality is my recovery didn't come from that. Now I have hindsight and go, all those little things. I've gone back after the fact, right? I didn't need to peel the onion for me to recover at all. All I needed was humility to say, I can't do this anymore. So I had to face whatever was underneath it all, which was really a fear of death by rejection and abandonment, you know?
Yeah.
It's like pretty basic. Yeah, I don't have to know why. I just need to know that's what has to happen. I have to accept rejection, abandonment, disapproval, and the fact that I might actually be a bad person. But if that's the truth, if that is the truth, I was born bad, what can I do about it?
Yeah, really nothing.
Really. So I just jumped in on, okay, well, the truth is if being loving and kind and wanting to have fun equates to badness, well, then I'm okay with that because it's the truth. I can't hide anymore. I'm done hiding the truth of the fact that I don't mean to harm anybody. I just want to be creative and I want to have fun. If those are horrible things, because those are the truth, then I'm okay being alone. Because all of my all of this stuff I was doing, was worse to me than being alone. But I had to get there. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you had to be so miserable you had to reach out to me again for you to go, okay, I'd rather get rejected and abandoned and no one like me because that's the lesser of the bads, right? Than me being alone and at least free to just be that 4-year-old self. I get to actually start my life over and figure out who I am. The good news is you're an adult.
Yeah. So I don't have to go back and go to school and
totally
all that
and be influenced by having to accommodate to parents, right? Now you really are free to just evolve from that little 4-year-old space.
Yeah.
And thank God it's not a linear growth to each year like it was back then.
Right.
Like it's pretty rapid maturity.
Yeah. Yeah, because all this mess, like after I wrote that list about, I'm fat, I'm ugly, blah, 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 about why I hate myself, I realized that all the other things that I didn't like about myself come from feeling so bad about my body and all those things.
My God, so that
does that come out right?
Totally. Well, that was huge, and so everything else was probably trying to compensate, and then you sucked at compensating, and then you sucked at that. So it's like, okay, well, if I can get rid of the badness with my body, then the rest of this all just disappears. It doesn't even need to be worked on. It just disappears because I don't need to cope anymore. I don't need to compensate. That's the word I need. I don't need to fix anything. I don't have to be better at that. Right? If I'm bad at my body, if I don't care, that's the key here. It's not saying that you're not bad with the body. It's just saying that you don't care that you're in a bad body.
Yeah.
So what the funny thing about that is it's so counterintuitive to what you'd think a coach would tell you, right? Coach would be like, your body isn't bad. Bullshit. According to Thin Supremacy, you are a piece of shit.
Right.
That's the way it is. Why even pretend that you're not going to get judged? You are. Does that make sense? So you have to decide, I'm okay with this. Like someone else might think this means badness and I'm symbolized at this. But you know what? I'm okay with that. Yeah. I don't think, and the question you have to ask is, am I really slothful? Am I really a horrible person? Is this really an indication of me sucking?
Yeah, no, not without the belief.
You got it. Exactly. And that's the key is like, well, relative to the belief, of course I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
I can't handle it. I can't control myself. I'm full of like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Of course that's true. But if I don't believe that, all of a sudden you're looking at yourself in your truth and you realize, oh my God, I have put so much effort into this. I have dedicated my life to wanting to be thinner. Think of all the diets you've tried to do. And all of a sudden you're looking at your truth and you're realizing this is the opposite of slothful and lazy. The truth is I've put way too much time and effort into trying to be thin. That goes beyond what anybody should have to do.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The idea that I'm lazy, don't want it enough, that's just relative to the fantasy.
Yeah.
So you see the differences between the reality of what you've put into trying to be thinner and then the reality of the belief that says that you're a failure. Which one are you going to hold yourself to? Because if you go off of the truth of the effort you've put into wanting to be thinner, have you really failed? No. No. You have wanted enough. You've wanted to be thinner so much that it's creating problems.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't describe this very well. It's hard to describe. So when you look at how much you've wanted to be thinner, how often you've really honestly tried, have you really failed?
No.
A+. Yeah. So that's the truth.
Yeah, I'm just going back to some of the ideas, some of the situations that I tried. And I tried with all my might.
So your effort, your desire was beyond. No, imagine if that's what it takes for everybody to be thinner. Is that really something we should be suggesting?
No, not at all.
That's insane. That's way too much. So that's the truth. Okay. So now go back to the belief. Which one are you going to hold yourself to, right? The belief says you're a quitter. You don't want it enough. You're lazy. You can't control yourself. You're inadequate. You're inferior. Compare the belief to the truth of what you've done. Which one is more true to you?
Yeah, the truth of what I've done.
Right?
Yeah.
So should you feel ashamed of yourself? No. It's almost like you need a certificate of bankruptcy. I am bankrupt. I kicked ass.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
remind myself, put it on a plaque on the wall.
I dedicated multiple decades and dozens of diets, tens of dozens of diets.
Years.
I have starved myself. I have a certificate of completion.
I'm a doctor.
I kicked ass.
Yeah.
And how to try to be thin, and how to want to be thinner, and how to hate your body, and how to fantasize, and how to worship a false idol of thinner beauty. Like, you killed it, man. You killed it. Meaning you kicked ass. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Holy buckets of insane effort.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the truth. People,
wow.
So someone who's going to judge you, do they know that? Do they understand that part? Nope.
Or they wouldn't judge. Yeah.
Now that's the truth. So this is where we're heading, is compassion towards yourself.
Yeah.
So if you don't, so look at the truth and look at the illusional lie that's out there. Who is going to have compassion for you? If you don't have compassion for how this actually is, how can you expect anybody who doesn't even get it to have compassion for you?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was realizing yesterday too, about how, because I was having trouble, again with my list about how I felt. So I had to, go into my mind like I was looking at somebody else and how I would be judging them in order for it to come out,
A shame.
And then I realized that's my belief. That's how I've been judging myself, and how can I treat myself that way,
Right. So this goes back to the discussion around internalization. Yeah. Is it really your asshole belief?
It's believing in the body image that
is it really
industry is kind of,
you got it, and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's not really, and this was big for me, awareness that, okay, it's not really my belief. I internalized it. I now have the language 20 years later. Now that I've been, the language I get. Yeah. But when I recovered, I didn't have any context. I just had feels of relief, right? But today I can say that once you internalize a belief, it becomes your belief. Yeah, I believe it. So when you say these were my beliefs, of course you internalized them, but are they really yours, or did you just internalize them and believe them? Where did the beliefs come from? Because you weren't the creator of those beliefs. It's not like you sat there one day and thought, I want to create a belief system, and I'm gonna use my own thoughts and feelings.
Wow,
you didn't do that. You're not the creator of fat shaming.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense? So internalization is the language used to describe brainwashing.
Oh, my God.
Or just systemizing yourself. I've internalized the belief that I should stop at a stop sign. I've internalized that I need to brush my teeth. And I feel that way. I want to brush my teeth. Okay. Because I believe that I believe it. I believe that I can prevent damage. So, it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay that I've been taught how to wash my hair. Maybe I should think about stuff like that. And I go to the doctor, or I take ibuprofen when I feel like my hip is starting to like bleed from the bone.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, but this is different because this is an internalized belief about your identity and worth as a human being. I wouldn't feel bad if my teeth rotted. I'd get false teeth. I wouldn't. That's not who I am. The body, if I end up with some type of, disease, like that's not me. That's the body and the environment, and that's complex, right? It's complicated.
Yeah.
Me is who I am is not complicated. Like I said, is if I were to simply describe the feelings, it's like, well, I'm kind. And can I even claim that as me? Because so many people are kind. But I'm only kind during certain times a month.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's the essence of my humanness, like the essence of a dog.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's really the truth. So
everything else is like learned.
Programming. And like I said, it's like, well, I know some of the programming is necessary, especially living in large groups of human beings. We need stop signs and roadways and pay your taxes and, support whatever the system is, support the system that's protecting you, right?
Right.
To some degree, right? So then there's who are you as a human? So what you internalized is that only good people are thin. Thinner people are better people. You believe that. You internalize that, right? That's the thinner supremacy. It's like white supremacy. Someone growing up in a white supremacist environment is going to have incredible fear of a different race.
Yeah.
Don't trust them. They're bad. Oh
my gosh.
So you have the same feeling about your fat. Embarrassment, because it's visible too. So if you believe in thinner supremacy, can you see why that's why you have fat shame in public? It's because you believed in thinner supremacy. So the thoughts that you were saying, those were my beliefs. They were actually beliefs that you internalized at a young age. And understandably, you probably grew up with a bunch of thinner supremacists. Look at our freaking culture.
Yeah. Yep.
So, of course, when a child internalizes that, they're going to feel bad about their body.
Yeah.
And they are going to think, I want to be thinner. I don't like fatness, because they've internalized thinner supremacy as if it is their belief. So you have a choice to say, I don't want to believe that anymore. I don't believe it. Because I know I'm a good person, whether I'm fatter or thinner. If you were to lose 100 pounds, 80 pounds, or I don't know, 50 pounds, whatever, do you change? Does the essence of you actually change?
No.
You're the same person. You have this same taste in music, same excitement for food, same.
Yeah.
If your son was 50 pounds overweight right now, does he change?
No.
Would you want him to feel bad about himself?
No. Goodness,
yeah. Yeah, it's really about coming back to the truth of who you are. If you want to simplify this, get back to the truth of who you are. If you're about 4 years old in that sense of it, you got to go back to that, and you need to honor that. That's where you went. That's where things went off, right? It's same for me. Things went off chart when I stopped honoring the truth and I started honoring an idea.
Yeah, I can feel that too. Oh my gosh.
So then I got to know the ideas and I lost touch with the truth of me, right? And then I always compared me to those ideas. And then the equation is always shame, because the ideas are always perfectionistic, idealistic, out of reality. They're not real. They're not true. Even if it's like your parents, holding your parents to some idea of what they should be when they're not there or capable of that.
Yeah.
You know, they did the best they could with what they were aware of, even if what they're aware of sucks. They did the best they could.
Yeah.
What they're aware of, if you had to go back, you'd probably forgive them. You know what I'm saying? It's like to go back to like the truth of who I am, not the truth of what I'm supposed to be and what I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear, that's been 30 minutes.
Okay.
Do you want to keep on going, or you want to?
I do, but I'm not doing my thing being in here.
Well, I think
texting already.
Yep, I think what you need to do is start contemplating. Just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Can you tell that's the most powerful thing you can do for yourself?
Yeah.
Face the danger. What do you have to lose at this point? Face the danger of people thinking you're dumb. Face the danger of people thinking your house isn't clean enough. You know?
Yeah.
You've got to do all of it. It's like, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm hosting my family. I've got 13 people coming over. You know what? I'm going to do what I can that's realistic so I don't lose my goddamn mind. I'm not going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
And if it's inadequate for them, they should go somewhere else next time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's not about me personally.
Yeah.
Right? My turkey's dry. My stuffing sucks. And my bread is like hockey pucks. Whatever.
Yeah.
I might be a little disappointed. Anyways, but yeah, it's not who I am.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good?
That's good. Yeah.
Right. I know. All right, my dear. So